I'm going to do a quick documentary regarding music, underground music in particular. Things are not too great actually this evening. It's getting worse. They want me shot dead, they want me knifed, they want me burgled, they want my fucking wrists and cutthroat in a malicious, brutal, grimy fight. They want me injected with whatever. They want to tear my life away. They want me sexually abused as a child in my next life when I'm reborn into a new life. And they're just getting absolutely nasty. And also one of the younger women in Audis is making similar remarks in conversations while doing shopping, when I'm saying nothing will never cause any trouble for that specific person. I don't even know that person. So let's get with the music here. It started in 2015 or 2016. And it starts with the jungle scene. A lot of the hip-hop gangster type people, or the people that listen to the modern music, started digging at jungle in particular to start with before we go into the other underground genres, saying it's paedophile and child rapist music, and that anyone that's listening to it is going to be smashed in, beaten to death, or shot dead. On a couple of occasions they have said that the government are doing away with it because it's dangerous lunatic music, and obviously on social media similar things have occurred there, where they've told people that they're going to have to change their style or go into the happier types of tracks, or the better life, good life sort of upbeat tracks rather than the old school tracks. Now obviously when it comes to that specific genre of old school jungle, when we're talking about the early years, say 1992 to 1995 or whatever, maybe 96, there's still a lot of moaning on the internet, and even the DJs are persuading, and the producers are persuading people to listen to the happier stuff, or the more commercial gangstery type stuff, rather than the deep, mellow, chilled out, or mystical or dark side stuff from that era. Right, let's move on to techno music. Most people like techno, especially the rough types of people, the drug type people, the hard type people, and they've liked that for many years. But since around about the year of 2020, 2021, things have changed and people are having a bit of a moan about that style of music as well. So they're basically saying that people that listen to techno are fucking crazy lunatics or psychopaths, and claiming that is all sick music of the past, and that people need to update their music, saying it's a load of shit and it's just crap music basically. There hasn't really been much mention when it comes to techno, but it started to get worse, especially in the years of 2022, 2023 and 2024. And on social media people are criticising techno, and it seems to be mainly from the types of people that are into the hard rock and people that are into hip hop, rap and commercial music like the chart scene or pop music, that are digging at the techno scene, saying it's all fucking crap, and again people being threatened to be beaten up and to be shot dead when it comes to that specific genre of techno music. Now I don't know what the reason is or why people are starting on this, but that's the second most hated music, or maybe not the second most hated, but it's starting to take a turn on it. So I don't know why that is, but people are starting to get nasty about it and taking a turn on people that listen to it. So let's start on that section. Now let's move on to happy hardcore. People have sort of been okay with happy hardcore for years and years. I only recall it being this year, 2024, where people are actually having a go at people that listen to happy hardcore or whatever, and they're saying that people that listen to that sort of music, again, they're screwballs, lunatics, and saying it's all crap and all bollocks from the 90s or the 2000s, and saying that anyone that listens to it needs to be shot dead, and that sort of thing. So people are having a go at people that listen to that, and again, it's on social media. It's not just by people making threats to people and that but it's not as bad as techno, and it's not as bad as jungle. Jungle's probably the one that's been targeted in particular out of all the electronic rave genres. So that's that part on that one. The fourth most hated music is sort of only here and there at the moment, but again, it started in 2024. People that listen to hardstyle are being put down as dangerous people that need to be smashed in or need to be shot dead or whatever. There's not many people that are actually arguing on that specific genre of hardstyle, but it's coming in. It is coming in. So it's just the beginning stages on that one. There's not really much mentioned on social media, and there's not really much in the way of conversations. So about between the two altogether, I'd say there's about 10 people that are having disagreements, sort of in conversational, shouting from a car window or on social media put together. That's in total, 10 in total. So I don't know why that is, but I'm not really keen on hardstyle anyway, so it doesn't affect me, but it's worth mentioning because obviously it's not known, and I do not know why people are moaning about that specific genre. The next genre that's being targeted, mostly on social media, I don't think I recall ever having a threat when it comes to classical music. It seems to be mostly on social media, and it's not actually aimed at me as such, but when I've looked at posts or seen posts or whatever, or YouTube videos or whatever, because classical music is a very deep and a very dark, eerie sort of genre when it comes to the proper classical music, over time they've decided to make kids tunes and making them in a classical style in a cheerful way, and then you've got other mainstream classical tracks that are being altered, remastered, or they're making a different version to throw people off that specific genre of music. If you go into HMV or a music shop, you will find that the actual classical section is almost completely empty and hardly anything selling at all. It's mostly movie soundtracks or Disney themes, kids' cartoon music that's made in a classical way, or stuff like that. If you go back many years ago, classical was had more depth to it, had stronger sound to it, had a deeper quality to it, I guess, if that's the right word to use, and there are a lot of tracks mostly being released on record rather than CD, so it's just sort of record and cassette that was released on going back in those days. Where again, this is targeted, not quite as bad as old school jungle, but it is targeted quite bad, worse than techno and worse than hardstyle. So yeah, they're saying that people that listen to classical music are dangerous perverts and very old people, and again they make the threat that they're going to kill those people or going to smash them out or stuff like that when it comes to classical music. The next genre I want to talk about is the New Age scene, or the meditation type of music, or the Reiki, or the religious type of music of a dreamy type, that's made with panpipes, acoustic sounds, melodies, cymbals, you name it. That's being targeted and has been targeted since the year of 2022. People on the internet, in particular, and when I've been to Glastonbury, because a lot of people like to listen to that sort of music in Glastonbury, they are being targeted, they're being shouted at, mostly by the bearded types of people that listen to hip hop or rap or heavy rock or whatever, and they're basically saying it's wussies music or paedophile music. And I've seen a couple of incidents where people have had a go at people that are listening to that type of music on the internet. The genres of New Age or subgenres of New Age music seems to be dying out, and here and there it's not that frequent, but people are actually giving it some, especially when it comes to the youth or the younger generation or the hard type people who are digging up that sort of music, or saying this sounds a load of shit, or saying watch your back if you're listening to that, and such things like that. So that's not good either for that music genre. The next genre that's being targeted there's not many people that are actually causing problems when it comes to this genre, but there's just a few, so no more than about 5 in total. And I've heard 1 or 2 that goes back a little bit further than, say, the last few years, where people have had a go at people that listen to reggae music. So that's another genre that's being targeted, and obviously people being racist against it as well, and they don't like it because it came out before a certain year. They're saying that all music that came out before 2003 is paedophile music for some reason, and that could be, I mean, it might not be the reason, but it could be because they changed the age of consent of sex from 16 to 18 before dropping it back down to 16 again 1 year later in the year of 2003, but that's not certain. So when it comes to reggae, people are basically saying they just make stupid sounds at people that play it, or people are being insulted, or they're saying you're a sicko, it's sad music, or whatever. So, but it's not that frequent. When it comes to reggae, there's hardly nobody at all that's criticising it, but you've got that few, and it's worth mentioning. The next genre I want to talk about is dark ambient and deep ambient. You can get dark ambient and deep ambient in the classical scene as well. So the classical version of dark or deep ambient would be like the very eerie backing music that you get in black and white movies, or that very low drone that occurs in the old black and white movies, basically. So that really low backing humming sound, or sounds like that, basically. But when it comes to the electronica dark ambient, which is the more commercial stuff, which is the electronica type of dark ambient, then obviously that's being targeted as well, because obviously because the music's low, they don't like it. They put it down as sado music, or paedophile music, or child rapist music, or music like that, basically, because obviously the younger generation, those under the age of 40, are not really keen on moody types of music, and moody types of music gets a lot of criticism, quite a bit of criticism, more online than I've seen in actual person, where people are having arguments with people listening to a low type of music. The next genre that's being criticised, or the genre that people are moaning about, is the type of tracks you had in the 1990s, like the dance tracks of the mid-90s, or whatever, and people are sort of criticising that. But it's not that bad, it's just here and there, some criticism on the internet, but it doesn't really get much attention. It's just here and there with that specific type of music. The next genre is the 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe some of the 50s soul music, or the easy listening type of music that people play. Possibly the love songs of that time period as well are being put down as sick cunts, or being told all the hot tracks, all the sick fucking tracks, and saying they're the sicko people that listen to those types of tracks, or the tracks that have strong sound and melodies. And it's offending some people. It's not offending too many people, but it is getting worse as the years go on, because people have a certain type of sound, and not everybody agree with other people's music. I have no problem with what anybody listens to. They can listen to what they want to listen to, but it does affect those out there that hear what the people actually play, so it's worth mentioning. I'm going to cheer you up with some better news, and the type of music that people enjoy listening to, or the people that don't really criticise, and that is these sorts of music genres. So you've got rock and roll. Nobody seems to have a problem with that. Nobody seems to have a problem with progressive rock, or heavy metal, or stuff like that. No one's complaining about country and western and music like that. No one really has a problem with today's chart music, or the stuff that's in the mainstream. Hip hop and rap is okay. People like hip hop and rap. That's probably one of the better, most well-known genres that people like. When it comes to drum and bass is on a slight turn. And when I'm referring to drum and bass, I'm talking about the new stuff, not the old school stuff. So there's a slight change where people dislike it, but it hasn't really got to a point where people are having arguments, disagreements, or having a go at each other on social media or stuff like that. It's there, but it's not too bad. However, when it comes to soul step or dubstep, people are starting to complain about that, or putting it down as sicko music or very sad, and criticising it here and there on the internet, which surprises me actually, because only 10 years ago dubstep was pretty much the going music that people were listening to. But obviously that's 10 years ago, and the times have changed, and people have different views when they look at other types of music or whatever. So there's a bit of criticism when it comes to that genre, but rap and hip hop, you're pretty much fine. Everybody is into that. Christian music, like hymns or stuff like that, the well-known stuff. So I'm not talking about the traditional types of hymns, I'm talking about the guitar sort of band type hymns of Christian music. That's another genre of music that people seem to be okay with and not criticise, including against the rough. I mean, even the rough community seem to be okay when it comes to Christian music or Christian hymns or stuff like that. So that surprises me, that one, but I've not come across it, and I've not come across any negative comments on the internet regarding people listening to Christian music. This one might come to a little bit of a shock to you, and this is old school rave anthems that were in the charts back in 1992, or back to 1989 or whatever. When it comes to that specific genre, the sort of cheesy stuff, there seems to be no problems with people complaining about that genre either, and things seem to be okay there. So I've never seen or heard of any comments, or had any threats, or heard any threats made to people regarding old school rave or old school classics or dance classics from the late 80s and early 90s as being a problem. They all seem to be fine with that.